Yeah, so that's a different setting for you. Still early in the morning.
Yeah, it's still early. Actually, I think I might head out and join you in a car. I'm visiting my daughter in
Ah,
Mississippi,
right,
and I fear my voice is echoing, and my daughter and wife are still sleeping.
right. No worries.
Be right back.
Yep.
You must have a light on your device somewhere.
It's a bit bright, is it?
No, it's just that I'm pitch black.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, I've got a USB light that I can plug into the car. Mm. That's all right. I know what you look like.
This is funny. Here we go. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Prop it up on the steering wheel. Is that how you do it?
Oh, I sit in the passenger seat.
Ah, okay.
I got a bit more room then. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works.
I've got one of those little fold-out stools that I sit my computer on. That puts it at the good height and a good distance.
Oh,
Works
nice.
works well. Yeah. Mm. So how far is Mississippi from where you live?
Uh, I don't actually know how many miles it is, but it's about a 2.5 hour flight and then an hour and a half drive.
Oh, okay. So yeah, significant distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So presumably you hire a car after the flight.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it'll be
Yeah.
2.5 hour flight would be, I'm imagining that'll be a couple of thousand kilometres. Oh, you'd go in miles, wouldn't you? But yeah, it'd still be 1,500 miles, I suppose.
That sounds about right.
Hmm. Halfway across the continent.
It is. It's a little
Hmm.
warmer here.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. You're down in the hotter country, eh? Hmm. Mississippi. I'm imagining that's a deep red state. A deep, is it red? Red,
It
whatever
is.
the Republicans are.
It is
Yeah.
a fun, uh, a fun party school in the South.
A pretty
I don't
poor
know if you.
state.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I don't know. Are you familiar with the SEC in college football?
No.
Um, it. I don't know. It's just it's huge in terms of like popularity and money and the economy, and so it's like you've got these a dozen big universities with enormous football programs. To give you a sense of the scale, uh, the coaches make there's a I don't know anywhere from 25 to $50 million
Oh, wow.
coaching
Okay.
coaching football. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And so it's a fun place to go to university.
Mm, wow. Yeah. Yeah, well, here in Australia, all the sports are quite a big business. They're more a business than they are a sport. The sport's just the face of it. Yeah. Mm. Hi, Leonard.
Hello.
So tell me, Jeremy, do you feel there's anything missing? And are you looking for anything?
Yes. Um, actually, I had a interesting realization this morning, and that was that a week or two ago, I was talking about not really reading anything anymore along this awakening path. A while back, I had mentioned that I wasn't really meditating anymore, and that changed this week. I started meditating. I've been reading. It's actually I thought of something that I wanted to ask, and that was that I have both this sense of like everything's enough, I'm okay, um, I'm content, um, and I have this belief that there are uh, deeper realizations for me to experience.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yep,
Um,
I go along with that. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's what
So the
I don't
relevant
know if that's
question
what
is, are you searching for those realizations or are you waiting for them to turn up? So when you say you're reading, right,
Yeah,
what's behind the reading? The reading itself is irrelevant in a way. What's behind it? Are you looking for something? Is it just coincidental that you happen to be on holidays and this is a way to fill time, or what's behind it?
I think that it's because I believe that everything that I experience is continually conditioning my mind. Um, that by reading things, it's like I'm trying to lead the conditioning in a particular way to help remind me of uh, if I'm going to be conditioned, this is the sort of conditioning that I think I'm looking for to help
Yeah,
remind me of the perspective and maybe the
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I
to
get
help
the point.
influence my experience.
Yeah, yeah. So let's just dive a little bit into that and go, what you're reading certainly has an effect on that conditioning, but it's your experience that happens as you're reading, your experience of recognition, your experience of discovery, your experience of whatever occurs. That's what actually conditions you. And so you could also reframe that and say that's learning. And so it's
Sure.
not quite like the unconscious conditioning, the brainwashing that we got as kids when we just, we had no idea what was behind it. It was just what was going on.
Oh, I lost my light.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. And the other thing, of course, is that it's a different kind of conditioning because you're aware of it. Conditioning is it's a bit of a shitty word we use, but it's a good word in the beginning because it describes setting a framework from which we operate.
Yeah.
But when you are aware of that, that has a different effect.
Sorry, I'm so distracted. I had to end up having to turn the car on for a minute. I think there's something that's preventing me from turning the light back on unless I run the car for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So keeping it
There's
alive is valuable too. I mean, that's definitely something. That's one of the things that one of the values I get out of these meetings. It keeps it alive for me. It keeps it in the front and center, so to speak.
yeah.
Whereas without something like that, yeah, we probably could drift backwards into an older state, maybe. I don't know, you know. Yeah, but yeah, people certainly can go back to sleep. That's for sure.
I find that it's a different. I don't know if this is me just trying to rationalize why it's different now compared to earlier, but there's less of a sense of there's still a like a very strong um, I hesitate to use the word desire because I'm trying to distinguish between what I remember it feeling like before. There was much more of a desperation several years ago where it's like um, I'm suffering and I have to find a way out of this. Now there's contentment and like a I don't know the word. There's still a strength to the attraction, but
Not
it's not
desperate anymore.
desperation.
Mm.
Yeah. It's much more of a really strong curiosity,
Yeah,
a patient curiosity instead of a desperate and urgent need.
yeah. So you could say once upon a time it was a survival thing, or it appeared to be that way, a survival. You know, that's the desperation. We have to, right? Whereas now it's more a movement to what we know gives us joy,
Yeah.
which is perfectly fine. Of course, we all want to be happy. That's part of our nature. But now we wouldn't do it at the expense of somebody else, whereas once our desperation might have.
Hmm.
So one thing that one thing that I used to do was to ponder the difference between a body preference and an attraction to fulfilling a story that was a way of getting me out of feeling shitty. Now I can come from a place of neutrality or a place of being fine and still have the attraction to move into something that's joyful. But if it doesn't happen, that's also fine.
Yeah. That's another way of putting the biggest distinction between now and several years ago is I didn't feel fine. I wasn't okay. But now, if you were to tell me that what I'm doing now I will never have a deeper realization, and my experience is never going to fundamentally change, I wouldn't change what I'm doing.
Yeah, you'd be fine with that. Yeah.
It'd be fine. In part because I think the I feel like the biggest mental shift that I had was when I gained the it's still a belief, but that like I don't remember what the exactly what it is, but it's like before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, or something like that. After enlightenment, it's the same thing. Like, and so I feel like now the way that I uh, carry myself throughout my day, throughout the world, is uh, to rest in just like surrendering to experience, and that no matter what sort of deeper realizations I may ever have, that's not going to change.
Mm,
I'm not looking for a new way
yeah.
to move about the world.
But of course, new ways will emerge, but probably almost unnoticed. Because we're not talking about a giant shift in perception anymore. Now the I was going to say the improvements, but now the changes are more subtle. but they'll continue to
Yeah.
happen, and there will be amongst them there will be some relatively large shifts. But it's really weird. I had this thought recently. I don't know whether it was today or yesterday. Yeah, I laugh because it's irrelevant whether it was. It was recent, um, and that was like, yeah. The best I could describe it in a, well, my realization was a wordy one, no narrative about it. But if I try and put a narrative to it now, it was like I feel like inside of me, this is happening. There's just this, like, and that outside of me, nobody could pick any difference. Nobody could see. My wife still thinks I'm the same person I always was. And so on. Um, so it's a kind of almost a private. I don't know if that's the right word, but it is kind of private in a sense that I don't make it private. I don't keep it private, but it's just an internal flowing that has changed. That's the biggest because I don't remember what it was like before.
Mm.
I can only remember that certain things occurred, but I don't remember what they felt like. But yeah, that's a current experience that I have. I find myself I'm walking up the garage and I see the fridge and the thought pops in, have a drink. So I have a drink. Now I just take it. It's not because I had the thought, but the thought was the way that emerged. It just turned up like that. So, and I kind of, I want to celebrate that I've been given direction.
Hmm.
And it's kind of makes life easy. I don't have to make decisions about yes or no or anything else. There it is in front of me. So yeah, it's appropriate to do it. Yeah. And moments of magic are interesting. They what I call magic anyway. Those moments of awe that turn up. They sometimes they'll happen a couple of times a day and several days in a row. And then right now I think, what, I can't remember having had one for a while, a week or more. It's just that moment of awe, which is also fine. Like they're kind of extra. They're like somebody hands me a chocolate ice cream and I go, oh, thank you. Wow, that's great. Yeah. What about you, Leonard? What's your daily experience? Can you can you
Um,
put a narration, put a
yeah.
story about it?
For me, it's a bit like I sometimes feel that my mind is like a bit hyperactive, and then I just allow it to do whatever it wants to do. And that's usually, but then it's like I just enjoy to read philosophy, but it's rather the philosophy that is, yeah, for example, it's text about what we think time is, and then why this is not logical, or that like our,
Mm,
yeah, what we think time is like super contradictory, and then it's rather like um, it amuses me to let the mind play in order to understand that it cannot know anything, even if it uses like logical thinking.
mm.
It's not really, yeah, it's just like as if I went with the mind to the playground and tell it, yeah, just
Yep.
play around, or I don't know. Um, And the other thing is that, yes, I mean, the tricky thing is still like, yeah, seeing, not seeing the stories, but I mean, it's not possible to live without stories. I mean, although you know that there are stories, and that's kind of confusing sometimes.
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's there's a lot of really interesting and exciting stuff in that. So if I
Hmm.
say to you, it's stories all the way down,
Hmm.
right? So our initial reaction that we take to be a direct experience is
Hmm.
still influenced by stories, but they're not
Yeah.
stories we're conscious of.
Yeah, I mean, if it was to avoid stories, then you would just shut up and that's it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's the nature of the and this is a story too, of course, but the nature of the brain being a predictive organ means that it's a story creator.
hmm.
And so how about this as a mind boggle for you? Do you imagine that I see a cat running up and down the stairs
Hmm.
behind you there. Now,
Hmm.
do you imagine if a cat was to jump out of an open window, would it imagine itself doing it before it actually did it?
Hmm.
Or would it just do it? I mean, we don't know. Of course, we don't know, but it's
Hmm.
what a brilliant exercise to consider.
Hmm.
I wonder if the cat sees a picture of itself doing it
Hmm.
before it does it. Because we frequently see little movies about what we're going to
Hmm.
do that lead us into something. And sometimes those movies are only words, as in mind narration, but
Hmm.
often they're actually little movies. So I wonder if the cat does, or the dog does, or the whatever, or if they're purely reactive. I mean, there's no question in my mind that my dog anticipates stuff. Right?
Hmm.
If I say to him, if I say to my dog, it's a her, do you want to go for a walk? Oh, she does backflips. She starts running in circles, always anti-clockwise, mind you.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but she'll run in circles, gets very excited, and then she'll run up in front of me and sit down to get the lead put on. It just you can just see that there's a whole lot of anticipation going on. Is that a story? Why is that
Hmm.
excitement there? But it
Hmm.
is definitely excitement. Yeah,
Yeah, I think with stories, I also meant that I catch myself sometimes reframing the situation for myself. Like, okay,
yes,
then it's going to be like this, and then that's the thing that I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm on the
yeah, yeah,
right
yeah, yeah.
track or something. And then I notice, like, yeah, but that's like nothing but a story, and tomorrow it won't be relevant anymore.
Hmm, yeah.
So, or it
Well,
won't function anymore as a frame for what's happening. So,
yeah. So in the beginning with this stuff, obviously our relationship to stories is huge.
mm,
It's a case of those stories seem to control us. They cage us.
mm,
They are the reason why we suffer. But once we've broken that, stories become really interesting, and they become our friends, and they're useful.
mm-hmm,
They're entertaining, if not useful.
mm. Yeah, there was just like a situation. I mean, I think I told you before that I did this exercise like individual, no, not like kind of spontaneous movement.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm doing that more often and sometimes with music. And it really works very well. I mean, like after some minutes, it's like really as if the body was moving
Yes.
itself, like
Yeah.
without doing anything. But then also things happened that I really felt kind of like a child. For example, then eventually it changed into me throwing myself on the mattress and like beating cushions. And then I start to really cry and sobbing and things. And it was really like this childish, I don't want it to be like this. And I don't know. I mean,
Mm.
but there were no thoughts happening. It was really like when a child is tired or wants, I don't know,
Yep.
doesn't want to be in the situation and then it freaks out for just a moment and then afterwards everything is fine. And I just caught myself that after that, I um, kind of mm, asked myself again, like, yes, but am I really fine or am I super frustrated or isn't there maybe really something that should take care of? And then,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, sometimes I find it a bit difficult because I remember you said that once. I mean, for example, if there are like thought patterns that always come back, and then it's a bit tricky because on the one side, you should maybe also listen to them a bit, like to understand what it this subject is about, maybe. Um,
Yeah. What's
I mean,
behind them? Yeah.
yeah, what's behind it? But on the other side, like if you keep reacting to it, then it goes on and on like this. I mean, but that's
Can
like
do.
something
Yeah.
between I don't want to suppress it, but I don't want to pay too much
Yes.
attention
Yeah. Yeah.
either. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes a bit like, what's, yeah.
Right. So it's a subtle attitude thing towards what's going on. So
Mm,
one of the things we need to be careful about that can lead us astray very quickly is to
mm,
jump to a conclusion about what it means.
mm,
So if we add a story about what it means, we're probably mostly going to be wrong.
mm,
Right. So if we don't bother with what it means, but we just allow the activity, allow the body to express whatever it wants to express without knowing what it is, without
mm,
even knowing what's behind it. Just allow it to happen. Usually it will be of value.
mm.
Then of course the question comes up, does it want to repeat? Does it come back? If it
Mm.
does, is it the same thing or is it a variation? Is it a move
Yeah.
forward? What's happening? You don't know these things. You don't know the answer to them, but intuition will tell you. And so
Yeah, but
sometimes
mm,
it can just feel good and you want to keep doing it.
what my intuition tells me is that no matter what kind of stories I told myself about that before, but like being alone all the time is not healthy. It's just like not healthy for me. I can feel that.
Hmm.
So,
So what do you mean? I know what you mean in a general
mm,
sense, but let's burrow down into it a little bit. What do you mean
mm.
by not healthy?
Um, mm, I don't know. There's like kind of, I don't feel alive. I don't know. I don't know if this is a story, but
Oh,
no,
yeah, don't worry
I
about
mean,
that.
I
Yeah.
should put it in a different way because it's not that I'm not seeing people sometimes, but it's, yeah, I don't know. It's, there is no connection really. I can't
Mm,
feel it.
mm, mm. Okay, so this is a good one. This is a big one. The Do you expect that feeling of connection will come from the other person?
No, certainly not.
Mm, good. Yeah. That connection is a really interesting one, and kind of connection's not a real good way to describe. It's really about something that happens in you when
Hmm.
you're with somebody else.
Yeah, and then I'm wondering like, and what if it doesn't happen? I mean,
Yeah.
why is that a problem? But somehow it doesn't feel, it does, yeah, I don't want to say healthy, but it doesn't feel,
Mm,
I don't know, it's, there is somehow something that stresses me about it. And I can, I mean, I don't know what it's in English, but I like all the time I have those inflammations in the mouth, on the tongue, and so on, and it's like very painful, and it takes like 2 weeks until it's okay again, and then it starts again, and I already like researched everything, like I'm taking vitamins and stuff like that. I'm not drinking coffee, but it doesn't work. And then I think it must have to do something with stress. And obviously like being, yeah, don't feeling this connection stresses me in a way.
mm, mm.
I don't know if it's a story though. I mean,
Well, that's fine. And I mean, as I say, it's all stories. There's stories everywhere.
hmm,
But stress happens a long
hmm,
time before your mouth reacts like that. You know,
hmm,
that takes days and days of being stressful. That takes the body being full of stress hormones over a period of time. It doesn't happen instantly, does it?
hmm,
Uh,
yeah.
and and the idea of stress is an idea, right?
Hmm.
So what we're pointing to when we talk about stress is, what is the body experience? Right? Where in the body do you experience what you call stress? Where do you
Hmm.
feel a contraction? Where do you feel tight? What are the details of that feeling?
Hmm.
And if you suddenly go, oh, I can feel this happening, so I
Hmm.
must have been stressed for some days before this happened.
Hmm.
How come you weren't aware of the stress when it was happening?
Hmm.
Right? Now, it's not to say that's wrong or
Yeah, I
bad,
mean, I
but
I
yes,
don't feel I don't feel so stressed, but it's must there must be kind of a stress in the background that is like a
yes. Now I
permanent
get that. I
thing.
get that
So,
for sure. Yep, yeah, yeah. I know. I look, when I play golf by myself, or when I go and play with a friend, and we're just having a muck around, and it's a practice day, and I hit several balls. If I hit a shitty ball, I'll just hit another one, and so on. I don't keep a score, right? I hit some good shots, and I can play a good game of golf. And yet, when I turn up to play on a Tuesday with the vets, and it's a competition,
hmm.
I don't play so well. And
Hmm.
and the obvious thing is, because you're trying too hard, Vince, or you're
Mm.
playing with other people, you're comparing yourself, whatever. And I look out for those things, and I'm not aware of any of it. I'm not aware of being stressed at all. I'm not aware of any competitive nature. I'm not aware of
Mm.
any any trying too hard to do anything. And yet I can play shitty then, and I can go around by myself afterwards and play really well.
Mhm.
That invites me to have a story about it, you know, but I don't know,
Mm.
right? So is it because I'm not aware enough of the tension that comes in when I'm
Mm.
playing in a competition? I don't know, but isn't it interesting, right?
But I think this would lead to kind of a paranoid questioning yourself, like, am I really not stressed? And that would be like,
Yeah. Well, I'm also relaxed about that, like it's interesting for me. I don't find there's no there's no compulsion to fix it
Mm.
even. It's just an interesting situation. Right. So what I'm saying is the same kind of thing for you. We could well be experiencing something that we might
Mm.
describe as stress or tension and not be aware of it because it's too
Mm.
subtle or it's too well hidden. We've learned how to avoid it too well,
Mm.
and so we don't see it. So what I mean, the whole point of this conversation, is then that I mentioned that kind of stuff is that
Mm.
the attitude towards it can be really relaxed still. If we
Mm.
find what's going on, great. If we don't, that's also great.
Mm.
It's just interesting. So when you are with somebody, do you find yourself saying to yourself, I have to make connection. I have to have a certain quality of a relationship? Or are you just totally involved in what's actually going on with that person? What the talking is
Mm.
about, what
No,
the
when I meet my friends, then it's just there. I mean, it just
yeah,
happens.
yeah. So
But
you don't think about it. You're involved in it and you're not thinking about it. Yeah.
yeah, um, it's interesting because I went to this uh, yeah, I mean I'm taking part in those actions of the left party. So I go there like once a week. And once when I went there were like, I don't know, four people, and there was not really happening a lot. And then I was sitting there having a coffee, and I talked to people, and they also talked to me, but they were not looking at me. And then I had like this, it was just a bit awkward. I don't know. It felt awkward. And then afterwards, I noticed. Um, no, this situation was completely normal, but I hadn't noticed that there was like a desire for being connected in the background, which I was not aware of, and that made me feel like super awkward
Mm,
because
mm.
yeah, but I noticed that afterwards, not in the situation itself. So I
But
mean
did
this
did that change it for next time?
um yeah, I mean the next time didn't happen because it was like last week, so
All
it
right. Yeah.
I should wait for the next time, but
Yeah. And
mm,
so an experience like that will give you vigilance about what's actually going on. You'll be more aware of, what's
yeah,
happening and what your expectations are and what you would hope
mm,
to happen and so on.
yeah, actually I'm going there every week, even if I don't feel like going there because it's kind of an experiment. So sometimes it feels like super awkward, and then it feels nice again, and then awkward, and then nice, and then it's like I just it's just like a good way of seeing, okay, because I guess that after having spent so much time alone, I have to get used to, I don't know, accept the frustration being with other people again a bit, that not everything works out after my rules or ideas as
Mm.
at home when I'm alone. So, yeah, but it's like once it's like this, the other time it's like this, but I can observe this and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like my wife and I went out for tea last night with some people that we know, and we frequently go out for tea with them on a Friday night. Well, for a bit anyway. And I can't remember any of the discussions that happened or what happened, but it was a pleasant night
Hmm.
of nothing,
Hmm.
kind of. I wouldn't say connection was happened or didn't happen. I don't
Mm.
know. It's just, and a lot of my life is like that. What this morning when we were walking the dog, we had a couple of conversations with people that we met. And I can't remember what they were about.
Mm.
They were pleasant, but nothing.
Mm.
Just yeah,
And when you have a walk with your dog,
yeah.
I mean, does it feel like a connection?
With the dog,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, and that's interesting because I don't know. I don't have this. I mean, yeah. The question is what is this really all about? Is saying it's a connection or not? I mean,
yes, yeah. Well,
but
what I would describe as a connection with the dog is that the dog is living in its own world and constantly wanting
mm,
to do what it wants to do, which includes being quite pliable on the lead.
uh-huh,
Um, but it wants to stop and smell. It wants to stop and have a piss or stop and have a shit. And our
mm,
dog's just, it knows that there are certain places where I'll let it off the lead and throw the ball, and it gets very excited when we come to those
mm,
places. So I'm involved is a better way to say it than
mm.
connected. There's a
Yeah,
there's a big involvement. Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's a good way of putting it. Because I mean, when I went to this birthday party and I had this cushion fight with the kid,
Yes.
I felt very much involved.
Yes.
And I don't know, when I'm in my bed reading something and I have a cat on me, I feel also kind of connected. But if I am
Yes.
in some random group and people are talking about the weather, it just doesn't happen for me.
Yes. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I find the same thing when they start talking about football.
Hmm.
Sorry, Jeremy. I've I have no interest in it or that whatever or last night they wanted to stay and listen to a band and they were all having nostalgic experiences about the original band. This was a
Hmm.
tribute band, but they were having
Hmm.
they all and they knew the words of the songs and things. I had no connection with that
Hmm.
whatsoever. Yeah. But I kind of feel pleased that they're having a good time.
Hmm. Yeah, but under different circumstances, you would. I mean, if you had listened to this band before many years, maybe, I mean, it would be
Yeah, who
different.
knows? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, part of it is that and I rarely. instigate a conversation with other people. I find that I'm quite happy to sit there and be quiet, and then I respond to them when they say something.
Mm.
So I don't, you usually instigate things. Not that I don't do it, it just doesn't happen. Yeah. So what I was saying about that is I'm quite happy to be apparently in my own space. Just,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that mm, I could, for example, be at a dinner and there was like if I would be eating if I was eating something super tasty and people talk about something I don't care about, then I wouldn't mind because then still the food would be tasty or something.
Mm.
But yeah, sometimes it's just not so I can't really enjoy it. I mean, I can't be just there and yeah, because maybe then I feel like am I supposed to say anything now? And I mean,
Okay, yeah.
I
Yeah,
I'm
that's a bugger, that
I'm
one. Yeah.
aware that this is like not necessary at all, but it's a bit like this. Am I forced to interact now, or is it okay if I just sit here? So,
Right,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, I make no apologies about it. I don't feel self-conscious
Mm,
about that at all.
mm,
I tell everybody I've got weirdo tattooed on my
mm,
forehead, so that gives me permission to do whatever I like. Yeah.
mm,
So, I certainly don't. I used to. I can remember that I did. I don't. I kind of can remember a bit what it felt like, but yeah, I used to be very socially awkward.
mm,
Now I don't care. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think should I or should I not.
mm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, recently when I wake, I don't know if I already told that, but just tell me if it sounds familiar. Um, I went back by train from Berlin, and then there was um, a guy sitting next to a woman, and he started to talk to her, and he was like asking her, did you ever go to that place? And do you like it? And what about this place, this city? Have you ever been there? Do you like it? But like 10 different cities or something. And in the beginning, I thought like, maybe she doesn't really want to talk to him, but is not able to say that. But then after a while, I noticed, no, she really enjoyed the conversation. And then I felt like it was me, like I would
Mm.
feel maybe a bit awkward or something. And the guy really, like in the end, he really said when she was about to get off, oh, I will really miss you, and maybe we meet somewhere else again or something. And I mean, especially in Germany, you would not do this. I mean, usually when you talk to a stranger, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but then I found it kind of interesting because this guy did not control himself. He was just as he is. And
Mm.
to experience that people find this nice and have a nice chat with them, although maybe they do find it a bit weird, but overall the situation
Yeah.
was like a nice talk. And that was like a revelation to me also because then I thought
Mm.
there are still quite a few moments when I still think like, maybe I shouldn't say that, maybe I shouldn't do that, maybe I
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah,
laugh
yeah, yeah,
too loud, maybe I should not wear that, or I don't know, things like that.
yeah. I want to say you'll get over that, but maybe
Mm.
you won't. I don't know, you know. Yeah, but yeah,
And another thing, I don't know really if this is like a total mind fuck, but I just wondered like I mean when we talk about direct experience, but mm, can you have a direct experience of thoughts?
yeah, sure.
Yes, I mean
Yeah,
I was not quite sure because I always thought that I mean in Liberation Unleashed it's like rather that you have this
yeah,
seeing
that's the way
and
of
not
breaking
thinking,
out of
and
that
it's
cage
why
in the
I was
first
just
place. Yeah,
like, yeah. But I
yeah,
thought, I mean, when you do meditation, for example, and it just passes by, that it's
yeah.
also
And
kind of a,
are aware of the existence of the thought
mm,
without getting lost in the content of
mm,
it. That's what I would
mm,
call a direct experience
yeah,
of it. Yes.
hmm,
Yeah, yeah.
because then it would also be, yeah, why would you create a duality between thoughts and sensory experiences?
Yeah. So, well, you're getting very you're probably already at the point where you can start to appreciate that thoughts are just another experience.
Hmm.
So that in that way, they're no different. The existence of the thought, not what it's
Hmm.
about, but the fact that the thought occurs, is no different to any of your other senses being stimulated.
Hmm.
Right? In the sense that you will react to it just as you react to any other sense. You react to
Hmm.
being touched, or you react to a sight, or you react to what you hear, you react to what you think.
Hmm.
And so, in a sense, that it is just like that. So yeah, so and when we get to that level, you can see that there's no difference between a thought and a sensation. Right? So it's only in the beginning that we need to separate
Hmm.
the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. How have you been, Echo?
I mean, life is lifey, but I've been pretty well. I finally got around to translating the time, so I knew when your groups are. So
Yeah.
um, the one that's 1 a.m. I probably won't ever make unless I have insomnia. But I'm up early all the time, so this is an easy one for me to jump on.
Good one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's early for Jeremy too. Yeah, but over that side of the world. Yeah. So, how's your experience been for, say, the last couple of days? Any suffering?
Oh yeah, there's always suffering. Well, I don't know. Here I just say that without actually considering the question. So, what is your name? Lenart?
Leonard. Yes.
Did I say it right, Lenart? Are you in Germany?
Yes. I
I was
didn't
born in
have.
Munich.
Ah, okay.
Apropos to nothing, I suppose, but uh it's funny because you ask that and I'm like, wow, was there yeah, I mean, moments. It flares more for me and then I can sort of settle back down. My husband and I went out and watched a singer that we've known for a long time last night, and it was really interesting because he tends to trigger suffering in me really quickly sometimes. And I was listening to you both talk about, like, listening to conversation, and at some point he was doing this he does a lot of like rote talk looping. So he's doing his talking about when he was younger and his friends and sort of stuff I all it's kind of like all known information. And I could feel that like irritation, like, because there's a lot of expectation on his part that I listen. Like, why aren't you listening to me? And you're not listening to me. And if he'll do this talking, and it's not about anything, and then he'll test me to see if I remember what he was saying. And I'm like, it's confusing mostly. And I feel like somehow like I'm letting him down because I'm not like recording what he's saying as he's talking.
Mm.
um and that's confusing too, because my memory is weird and ADHD makes it worse. But then all of a sudden I just was aware, like, I had gotten out of, I don't even know how to have words for some of the things, but all of a sudden I just had that well-being, that feeling of like, oh, I'm just here and there's music and people, and some people are drunk and like more connected, and dropping that selfing. And then it was just like, oh, this is lovely. Like, I can just be here and enjoy this without being evaluative about, oh, those people are drinking and getting drunk over there, or like any of it. And
Mm.
I was like, that is lovely.
Mm.
And so I kind of just noticed that coming and noticed that going, and just feeling how different it was when I was in sort of a mental frame.
Yeah. So when you were feeling that, were you also feeling that about your husband, yabbering on about the same stuff he always does and going around in a loop? Did
It
you
is
include
so much,
him?
it is so much harder with him.
Yeah.
When I connect to like what was happening in the moment, um, of course I wasn't feeling anything about him in particular, but I tried turning and looking at him and like noticing the color of his eyes, and it's just so hard to stimulate that. And I guess it's so hard to drop the stories about him. There's a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of density there. Um, there's a lot of density there. So
Mm.
yeah, with him, it's a lot harder to access that.
Yeah. So do you find is what he triggers in you a defensive kind of reaction?
So many things. Like, one of my major, like, I don't know, long-term thought patterns is sort of, our marriage is in trouble. I need to figure out how to fix it. So there's a lot of like, it's so quick to analyze like what is going on here, or um try to figure out, or like there's a lot of sort of thought looping around that.
Yeah. So are you the only one doing that, or is he also doing that? Are
Oh
you
no.
taking on whole? You've taken the whole job on, eh?
Oh, trying to fix our marriage. He finally went to couples therapy after, and like I can hear the story load, and I don't know whether to say the story, but like right there is the story, because the story is, before we were married, he promised me that if we needed help, we would get help. And then he refused to get help for like a decade when we were in really bad trouble. And I could just feel the energy of that story. Like, this is drama of like what I've been through. And yet it still can feel so true.
Yes.
Um, yeah, because there's the whole story of like, I've been doing therapy on my own, trying to work on our marriage,
Yeah.
and I've been doing
Just
spiritual awakening on my own to try to work on our marriage. And
okay, let's just go back about 60 seconds.
yeah,
You were feeling something pretty strong, I thought.
I don't know what, yeah, um,
Yeah, well, you're feeling it now. At least I'm interpreting your face as saying you're feeling it now.
no, that's valid. I mean, it's been, yeah, see, I don't even know how to feel without telling the story because the words are
Yeah.
right there. Like, oh, it's been so painful.
Yeah, what I want to hear is what's behind it. What got triggered in you, right? So the story could be an explanation about what's going on, or it could be your escape from what's going on. I don't know. Either could either be either of them. But what I want to hear about is what does that story bring up for you? Does that bring up a sense of dot 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 something?
I mean, just sadness and grief and loss and like,
Yeah, right. Okay, so stay with that, right? As painful as it is, staying with that, it's authentic, isn't it?
yeah. And there's a story that it's hard to stay with.
Yes, of course it's hard to stay with because every part of you wants to get away from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you imagine when I ask you this question, just tell me the first thing that comes to mind, that those stories are a way of you avoiding what you're feeling now, or do they really actually describe something about what's behind them? I'll bet you it's the first one. So if you tell that story, you can feel outraged, can't you? Or something, maybe that's not the right word, but it can change
Uh,
the feeling into something. So sadness, loss, grief, right? They're pretty hard to cope with. We can get angry. That's a lot easier to cope with than those things, eh?
yeah, and the story of like, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
There's
Feeling
something to be
helpless.
done,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. Yeah.
Mm. And what about feeling stupid because you believed what he said, even though you knew probably right from the beginning that it wasn't going to happen? He promised you'd get help if you needed it and then refused.
It's more like
And
I feel stupid for believing him.
yes, yes.
Or I don't know if that's actually true, but like, it's
It
more
doesn't
like,
matter. It doesn't matter how logical it is. You feel a whole
no,
lot
it's
of
more that
things.
I feel so betrayed.
Yes,
Because now here's the story, and I don't know what to do yet when I can tell that the story is loading and I can hear that it's a story, but I don't know how to relate to the story.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Um, but like I was young and I had kids and I really wanted somebody um that I could rely on, and I had concerns about him, and I really asked him for some commitments. Like, we talked a lot about being honest with each other. And then he's just lied. Like, he's been
Yeah,
so
yeah.
deceptive. And
And
Just
here you go though. Here's a big one though. Right? You knew that he was a liar when he first said it, but you wanted to believe him. You weren't hoodwinked by what he said.
I was hoodwinked.
Say that again.
I was hoodwinked. I did believe him.
Did you? Right. Okay.
Yeah, I totally believed him. Of course, I believed me too, because I made this promise. Oh, this is
Yeah.
just a big. I had lost weight. I was quite heavy during my first marriage, and I had lost, I don't know, a lot of weight. And the promise that I made that I was not able to fulfill was not putting the weight back on. And I meant it. And I
Mm,
found myself completely incapable of not just
yeah. Yeah.
that food addiction just
Yeah.
made
And
me incapable.
one can easily understand that addiction, eh?
Yeah.
So here we are, wanting to fix what can't be fixed in the way that you imagine it could be fixed.
Definitely not. I mean, I have done the research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here you are faced with a truth about what does the future have in store for you. Are you going to stay in a fractured relationship,
Yeah.
telling
And then there's a
yourself
whole,
until the day you die that you can fix it, but it never happens because the fix that you imagine isn't possible, is it?
yeah. And there's been a lot of like, then that creates whole other thought loops and stories about
Yeah.
one that's staying in this relationship or thinking about leaving and should I leave? And it's just been very fertile ground
Yes, of course. Yeah.
for a lot of thought.
Yep. So if we say we don't know, we don't know whether we're going to stay or whether we're not going to stay. We don't know whether it'll be okay or not okay, whether it'll be fixed in a way that I don't imagine even or not. Do we
Yeah.
accept for a start that this ideal fix was only ever a fantasy? You know, that what you'll end up with could be very well a loving relationship, but you have to accept that he is the way he is, and he's still going to yabber on about stuff that's meaningless and repetitive and so on and so on. But that's going to be okay if you've got the right perspective on it. That can be okay. So you can have a good relationship, even if it doesn't turn out to be the way your imagination would call it fixed. Because he's not going to change, is he? He's going to be the way he is, and that's the way it is. So really what it's about isn't changing him, or it's not changing you. It's about your attitude towards those things, hey?
Yeah, and
And
it's been clear to me for a while that I do not have any idea if I'm going to go or stay. Like
yes, yeah,
I can make a decision to leave and it doesn't mean I'm leaving. I can make a decision to stay and it doesn't mean I'm staying. Like
exactly,
I'm
yeah,
so that unknown future of our relationship has been clear at certain levels, but not clear at other levels.
Yeah, maybe not stated either. Yeah. So
You know,
if you recognize that intention is not related to what will actually happen necessarily, it can be involved, but okay, so you make an intention to leave and you don't, you make an intention to stay and you don't. Well, who knows what's going to happen? Do you recognize that circumstances decide these things, not you?
well, it's more like I don't know what decides it.
Right. Well, that's a good way to put it, right? Because
Yeah,
if even if we accept that it's circumstances, it's an infinite number of circumstances involved, and you don't know what most of them are. You only know what some of them might be. Right? So
right.
maybe there will be a deal breaker, and that will decide for you, or
Yeah.
maybe the opposite will occur. Maybe you'll start to feel good about your relationship with him, but those things don't talk about the future. We can only really talk about the present because that's really all we've got a handle on, what's going on now.
Well, and even with the story, that seems clear. Like, I did believe him. I thought that it was gonna unfold in this certain way. It was so there was so much like spaciousness in the beginning, and the Course of Miracles says the ego steps back and allows us to enter into these special relationships. I don't know if you have any awareness of that, but that's the terms that the Course of Miracles uses, and it does feel like that's what happened. Like
Yeah,
our
yeah. Well, it's
egos
a good
completely
description. Yeah,
stepped back. We had this like miraculous kind of experience with each other, and then we put our 5 kids together, and then it just went like haywire.
mm. Yeah. Kids have a way of doing that, don't they?
Yeah, and we have our kids are good teachers.
Mm, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I'd had a heart awakening. Like I had this moment after my divorce when I was in my car crying, which I did all the time then, and like there was this huge shift where it just everything changed right like that, and like it just felt all heart centered. And when he met me, I was like in that opening,
Mm-hmm.
and it lasted a really long time,
Yeah.
over a year. And I could feel it slowly, like
Yeah.
losing it, and I was trying to keep it. And
Yes. Yeah. Well,
uh
of course, trying to keep it was probably helping you to lose it. But
yeah,
yeah. So do you get that when you were in that space, that triggered him into his version of something similar? He was
I
much
had
more
not
open because you
I had
were.
not I had not thought about that. Yeah, I had not thought about that. It makes a lot of sense. Mostly I've thought about like he met me then, and then we put our kids together, and I kind of went into a survival mode. And like there's a whole story around their mom was, hurting them, and I was going to be the like person that saved our 5 children. It sounds so, I want to say, it just sounds so fucking stupid now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I get it. I get it. I mean, I was going to save the whole world once. I know how
Yeah.
you felt. Yeah, my version of that anyway. Yeah, sure. But kids being kids, they've all got their head up their own arse so far that the nothing else exists except what they want. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
But
do
as I
grow up though.
watched, they did, but wow, that was a whole journey. It was fun, but it was also really hard. But like as I went into that survival mode, like I just like went back to a really
Yeah.
contracted version of myself, and I think that coincided with me just starting to like inhale food and try to figure out how to be this perfect
Well,
mom that
you were in survival mode, of course. That's what happens. Yeah.
and but I think for him the experience was I met this amazing open woman, and then she turned into, and I didn't know what was happening to me.
Mm,
I didn't know why I was like I had no way to understand what was happening. It
mm,
just felt like um and then there was just like 2 decades of just suffering
yeah. Yeah.
for me and for him. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So can you get that he possibly also felt like he was looking forward to something with this amazing open woman
yeah.
and then ended up with a witch. I'm I mean, yeah, that's a bit provocative,
It's
but from his
no, I'm
perspective,
funny. I actually like it because one of the things that's happened through our whole marriage is he's called me a bitch. And I'm like, all my like 24 years, I've just asked you not to call me a bitch. And 2 days ago, he's like, he was doing it like he's teasing, like you fucking bitch. And I'm like, still not funny, honey. Still just
yeah,
not laugh at that. But
yeah,
you say turned into a witch and I can laugh. So that feels
yeah,
good because like, I mean, yeah, valid.
yeah,
I was trying so hard, but trying doesn't
yeah. But here's a
trying
really big
only.
one. A really, really big one is that you're never going to get back what you had, but your body, your being knows the way back, or it knows how to get to that place because you've been there. And so although it may not be the same experience you had before, that wonderful opening, that openness, that egoless state that you were experiencing is right there ready for you again.
And then I feel like this tightness around my and this like just this side of my jaw. Just I can feel this aching and this just like stranglehold almost around my neck.
Did that come up when I was talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 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 right. So, and okay, you can't let this happen again yet. Why not? Kids have left home? Are they still around?
No, the kids have left home. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, like that just yeah, like I can feel this like that just opens the door. Like you
Mm. So is it a way of protecting yourself from disappointment?
disappointment and grief maybe.
Mm. So tell me more about this feeling that you've got. Tight jaw?
It's really funny how it's just showing up on the left side and it's like I don't know if it's painful because it's tight or painful because it's starting to loosen. Yeah, it's just right there and it feels like
So give me some words about it. I mean, I love organ language, right? Is it something you can't get your teeth into? Is it you're clenching and you can't express something? Is it what words come to mind for you to describe it? Play around with that. On the left side, tight. Is it the jaw that's tight? The cheek? What's tight?
Hard to tell. It just feels like in the center, almost of my almost in the muscle there, and I can feel actually when I press there, I can feel like soreness in my
Yeah. So
muscles.
would you say that soreness is there because it's been tight for a long time, or is it something else? Is tightness appropriate? Is it tight? So we've got soreness, and we've got it there in a muscle that you can feel.
Yeah, and it's kind of moving a little bit this way, and it's just ache, just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what job would that muscle have, do you think?
and then I can feel that sadness coming up.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's it. That's a good one. That's sadness. Right. So this is about holding the sadness in, not letting it out, not letting it
And
be
like
experienced.
also about like maybe like gritting my teeth and holding on and almost like holding on to hope even when
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels so
So tell
like
me, there's a good phrase, gritting your teeth. Now, why do we grit our teeth? We grit our teeth with what's the emotion behind gritting your teeth? Being resolute.
yes, that's a good one. Yeah, like yeah, and the words in my head right now where it's like I am not gonna let
Yes. There you go.
I'm not gonna let yeah, like I'm not gonna let my feelings decide how I'm gonna respond
Right.
to these challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to
So if we say that in a different way, if you're not going to let your feelings decide, what's going to decide?
oh, that's a good question. I mean, there was a lot of resoluteness about, and I did a lot of strategies like I am not going to stoop stoop to his level. I am not going to like I had a strategy for a while like just model to him how you want him to show up for you. So then I'm modeling I don't ever cuss at him. I don't ever call him names. I don't ever characterize him in negative ways and I am just not going to respond in kind. And um and meanwhile he's like 2 decades calling me a bitch. Not all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but I don't understand why my husband would call me a bitch no matter what I did. Like,
Mm.
yeah, so there was a lot of um, not wanting to be led by my the temptation of my emotions.
Right. Okay. So there you go. So if you let your emotions run the show, you would see it as stooping to his level.
Dipping at his level, but also dooming our marriage.
Mm, hmm.
Like that's how this ends, is the story. Like we
Yeah,
both
yeah, yeah,
treat
yeah,
each
yeah,
other that way, and I can't let this end. And so, but
yeah.
it at some
So
point I just
you also see that if you let your emotions go, that's what will come out.
yeah.
Now I see that
Well,
as just
go ahead.
right. It's a fantasy you've got that those are the emotions that will dominate if you let them go.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But if you were to express them, and I don't mean necessarily to him, but if you were to express those things, guess what? You'll find other emotions beneath them, other emotions that never had a chance to come to the surface that are rather nice. You'll find compassion and empathy and love and those kind of things. But they don't even get a chance because what you're afraid of are all these aggressive emotions.
Yeah.
And they're the ones you're gritting your teeth about, not the good ones.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and that's why when I started doing like the I've been doing IFS therapy for like 5 or 6 years, and like
Do you
sitting
have
with
a
my anger.
mentor? Do you have a
I have a
mentor?
I have a therapist.
Yes. So there's the place to express all of that stuff that you are gritting your teeth about.
Yeah, but it's a slow process, and like in the meantime our relationship is like bad, or
Oh, okay,
was.
all right. I don't get why it's a slow process. I mean, shit, we've covered a lot of ground tonight, and that wasn't slow, was it?
Well, no, but the covering at ground I can do today is because I've been doing that for 6 years.
Yeah, yeah. It all
Because
fits,
I
doesn't it?
sat with, like, I had so much repressed anger that um I couldn't I couldn't even allow. And in that parts work, I could allow that angry part to come out and just sit with me and tell her story in a safe environment where I wasn't so worried about her.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, see, now I would see that as not. Yeah, I don't want to be critical of,
I
yeah,
don't
but
mind.
when she's encouraging you to tell a story about it, that's not you experiencing it. That's just you telling a story about it. Right? I want her to get you to yell and scream and express what it is that you're holding in. I want to see that stuff come out. I don't want to hear a story about it. I don't want to justify it. I want you to experience what it is so that you can let it go. Will she allow you to do that? I mean, she probably allows you to cry in front of her, so surely she'll allow you to yell and swear and
Well, it's more like it's more like the deeper place in me sitting with my own sense of rage and being able to hear the story enough to allow that anger.
mm. But the anger itself sits on a story. It comes out of a story. But your anger is an escape. Your anger is to avoid this other stuff. And it's the other stuff that you need to be able to express and let go of. If it stops at the anger, Well, that'll just be there forever. That'll just keep happening because the anger is just an escape from what's too painful.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's shadow work for sure.
Yeah, but that can be a
But
never-ending amount too.
it wasn't for me. I feel like the shadow work that I've done has allowed me to, I mean, because I've always stayed on the spiritual path, like for so long, like the idea, like I want to be spiritually awakened has been just
Mm.
a huge force that's always been there with the shadow work. So meditation and trying to, well, not trying, but allowing a direct experience. But I was very over controlled in multidimensional ways.
This is after or before you had that experience of being open.
Um,
You certainly weren't during it.
it wasn't during it, no. Um,
So maybe you were before, and maybe you got back to it afterwards when you closed down again.
well, I get it's like so relational for me. Um, like in my first marriage, like he was so unwell. Um, I mean, my ex-husband's parents met in a mental hospital. And that just sort of ordeal created like tons of trying to control it, trying to fix it, trying to make it better, trying to like, and I was super up in my head, like I was living from here to here, and it was all about um yeah, how to not have it be the way it
Yeah, yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Attempted control. Yeah.
Yeah, but also a lot of like rigidity in um and even in being held in my body that had
Mm,
to be unwound. I
mm.
don't know. I just say I've taken the slow way. Like the people that I see like engaging with Angelo DeLulo and like they got to be on some kind of fast track that I just couldn't find a way to be on. So I just had to do it the slow way.
Mm. You're moving pretty fast now.
It feels like I am, yeah, it feels like I, a lot of it feels like I'm not distracting all the time anymore. And so um things are making sense to me that didn't make sense before. And I mean the availability of good spirituality information
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Yeah.
has sort of exploded. And because I'm pretty good at finding things that like following my intuition into like spaces where I can find help.
Mm. What if I said to you, you've got all the tools you need now? Sure, some of them you need a bit of practice using them, but you basically know everything you need to know. You don't need to look for any new stuff. You need to work with what's already there.
I mean,
when
that
I
feels
say
actually,
work with, yeah.
well, that feels pretty true. And that's where, like, um,
Well, it's just my assessment. It doesn't mean it's true for me, but yeah, but it's the way I see it. You definitely got you know what you need to know already. You just need to apply it.
yeah, and I feel more capable of doing that now.
Yeah. Can you remember what it felt like? Well, I saw your eyes light up when you were telling me about that period of openness that you had. So I'm rather imagining that you can recall a feeling that existed during that time.
Yeah, I feel my
Yeah,
heart guard.
yeah,
I can heart
yeah,
guarding my heart coming up like, oh,
yep, yep. And your whole demure changes when you're telling me about that. Your face lights up and your whole body lifts up, and
yeah.
you can feel that. Yeah. Well, that's a really interesting and very powerful technique to help you more quickly move into that place, right? Is to remember what it felt like and just swim in it. Just allow it to permeate your body. And that changes the hormones in your body, that changes the way your brain works. Lots of things happen as a result of that. But I want to also say this, something you said earlier about shadow work. Yeah. Shadow work, we describe as shadow work because it's stuff that hides in the shadows. But here's something I've come to realize just in the last couple of years, that that stuff is only there as potential. We are not a container that has a whole lot of stuff down there that we need to empty out. It's only there as potential. And when it gets triggered, it's there. But until it gets triggered, there's nothing there except the potential for it to be there. Right? So it's not a thing until it gets triggered. Then it becomes a thing. Now, we don't need to know what it is because we don't need to empty it out, right? When we do get triggered, if we recognize that we've been triggered now in the present, even though it's an old belief that is the stimulus for it. It's happening now. And
Yeah,
because
I
it's
can,
an old belief, if we recognize that, we don't even have to know what it is. We can recognize that it's an old one and that it's no longer appropriate for us to have it. And that recognition, and I want to underline the word recognition, that recognition can just dissipate it instantly. And we recognize that we don't need it. And so it doesn't come back. That's powerful shit. Really, really powerful stuff. You're not a container full of stuff that we've got to empty out because that if you could go looking, you find stuff because you create it when you go looking. And it's a never ending thing. You can be doing shadow work for the rest of your life and you'll still never get to the bottom of it. Because every time you go looking for something, you create it. And then you find it. And then you can work on it. But there's no end to that. And the really interesting thing is that a lot of those beliefs all rest on the same foundation. So when you get rid of that foundation, a whole lot of them go at the same time. And those foundations are really simple ones. They're really powerful, pervasive, but simple. And that is the idea that you can control things. is one of the biggest ones. And you know you can't because you've told me you can have the intention to do this and it doesn't happen, and you can have the opposite and it doesn't happen. But you know about control, yet that belief that you've got control and that you can fix things is where all this stuff, the foundation that all this stuff rests on. So what happens if you exercise no control? If it actually occurs, so we can say it intellectually, oh yes, I can see I've got no control, but then I want to do something about it.
That's what I
So
was
right,
talking to you. That's what I was
yeah,
talking to
go.
you a couple weeks ago about. Yeah, I can feel this logic trying to like that fear about not caring anymore, things not mattering anymore. That feels like
Yep, I get it. I get that one. But that's an expectation about a fantasy, right?
it's
So will you ever not care? No, of course you will. You'll always care, but it won't
yeah, but
control you.
I don't want to divert into thought, but
Well, they're useful, can be.
so I was listening to uh I don't know the guy's name, but I was listening to the Finders course. Have you
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
this?
Jeffrey Martin, probably.
Yeah, so I'm listening to him and he is talking about the consequence of not caring or things not mattering anymore. And he was saying he was kind of just talking honestly about some of the drawbacks. And he's like, you to some extent you quit caring about certain things, but there are circumstances where you need to find a way to make yourself care.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's the way. That's his perspective on it, and that's the way he describes things from that, I guess. I'm not that familiar with him, so I can't. I'm not criticizing him, but what I'm saying is caring, mattering are, are created fantasies. Feeling like you care is totally different. It's another thing altogether. Do you care about this because of a story that says what happens if you don't care? Or do you care about it because that comes from a basic human expression of empathy that we all have as human beings? So, of course, you'll always have empathy and compassion, right? Now, do we call that caring? Well, we can, but it's different to say,
Yeah,
I care because of a story. I care because caring people are good people and I want to be a good person. See, that's bullshit. That's all ego stuff, isn't it?
yeah, that makes sense. Like,
You will never not care unless you've grown up as a narcissist. And that's not the case for you, not at least not the way I see you.
not really, no. I mean,
Narcissism kind of shouts out its own presence, doesn't it? Right? And you can see people who are narcissists.
yeah.
It's really obvious, you know. But even so, narcissist still comes out of sickness. It still comes out of a defensive, protective kind of thing. You know, Donald Trump's your classic narcissist.
At some point you were talking and I was feeling that left side of my jaw just, I don't know if it's loosening or like the pain of loosening or the pain of tightening. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's funny how that just kind of came in and
Yeah,
then just.
that's a good one. See, so the story that you could become a person that doesn't care, we've got to resist that. Yeah, that's a pretty horrible picture, isn't it? Person that couldn't give a shit about anybody else. You're never going to be that person. It's not your personality. It's not your nature to be that way.
Right, but some of it is, I don't know, here's where it goes in my head. It goes to this thing like a story that I could get so peaceful that I wouldn't uh try to like engage in things that stop Trump. Like there's this, I listened to the video of these kids in Dilley, Texas in this prison camp, and um like this fear of losing a sense of motivation to like respond actively to
Yeah,
people that are hurting.
yeah. So this is a tricky one that's good value, really good value here. When you summon that motivation, when you think about it and you feel motivated, where does that come from? Does that come from a basic desire for good, or does it come from identification with a picture you've got of how you should be? I don't think it's the second one, is it? Are you trying to impress somebody, yourself or somebody else? Are you trying to impress them with your being a good person? No. You're wanting to do what you consider to be right, I imagine.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a story there that sort of is about like, here I am, a trauma therapist trying to help people heal from all this trauma, and we're just creating this whole generation of traumatized kids. And like, I mean, I know what's happening. There's probably a lot of SA happening in there, a lot of sexual abuse, a lot of physical abuse,
Yep,
a lot of,
absolutely, yeah.
and yeah, it's sort of like,
So what if I said to you that if you became super peaceful, right? Zen-like, we're just imagining this, right? That you're actually going to have more effect in the direction that you want than you are if you run around like a chook without a head. Oh, you don't call them chooks, chickens, chicken without a head, um, trying to do this or do that or whatever and affect change. But as a role model and being peaceful and still wanting to do what's good and right, you'll have a much bigger effect.
I mean, I think that that clarity is what allows me to be sitting here and not like watching YouTube videos about trying to figure out what's happening and trying to come up with what I can do that's more effective or more
Yeah.
strategic or more like 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 that story is unwinding. I can just still feel the remnants of like, what does it mean to like let go?
Yes. Yeah. There you go. Wow. Well, you feel it, don't you? Letting go.
Yeah, and then the thought in my head is I don't want to, and I don't know what that
Yes.
even means, but
Oh God, I want you to. I want you to. And if you start crying, I'm going to start crying too, and that'll be wonderful. I love it. Yeah. It's scary to think about, but wonderful to feel. There's that really open person again. And if you think back to that time, did you not care about people and situations? Of
no.
course you did. Yeah.
In fact, I was like, yeah, like, making myself sick with how much I cared about my stepkids and how much I wanted all five of my kids to,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
like,
do you get that part of this is is there's an ache that is so big about wanting good that it just swamps.
yeah. And that goes to the 8-year-old me, and I got my third grade Bible and I'm reading, the Sermon on the Mount, and somehow it's coming to me like it doesn't have to be this way. My family was, it's really hard.
Yeah,
And, but I think I took that a whole nother step of like this dawning realization that it didn't have to be this way. And like the Sermon on the Mount, like it just spoke to me so much about like something different.
yeah.
But
It's
then I sort
propelled
of,
you into a place, eh?
yeah, but then I think I sort of like took it a step further, and it's like, okay, so I have to figure out how not to make it be like it doesn't have to be this way. And I have to figure out how to make it not be that way.
Oh God, it's a wonder you're not hunchback carrying the weight of the world on your shoulder. Mm, yeah,
And I can see that creating this sort of like, oh my God, it's getting worse. It's becoming more that way that I don't want it to be. And like,
yeah, yeah,
I have to
yeah. I
do
get
something
that.
to make it not the way that it doesn't have to be.
Mm. Yeah, that's a tricky one, and that's a huge one.
Yeah, with so much. I mean, I was an enthusiastic kid, so I did it with so much zeal, and that zeal is like,
Yes, a lot of energy in that. Yeah, yeah. Here's something I heard the other day that I want to say to you. It's kind of a bit of a meme, but because you accept something doesn't mean you approve of it.
but then it just hurts.
Yes. And you know, some of that pain that hurts has an exquisite sweetness about it.
Yeah, there's a whole story about like like this grief is gonna like destroy me or something. If I let myself feel it, it's like too much, it's too big, it's too.
Mm. Of course, it's not. That's just the story that we say.
Yeah, because it doesn't come all in one big wave. It comes like
Mm.
this.
Yeah, but we kind of let it out in big waves when we
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah. Mm. And so you've got no idea about how things are going to settle in you after tonight. We've really poked the bear big time, and things will integrate, things will settle, realign, things will change. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if you didn't start having spontaneous feelings like you remember, of being open and relaxed and free. And of course, then you'll go back to being all constricted and clenching your teeth. And then you'll realize that that's what's happening and you'll let go again. So those are things that will, so it's a time of big change for you. Lots of things will happen. And you don't need to do anything about it. In fact, you can't. Even if you think you're doing something, you're not. You're just having a fantasy. Life
Yeah.
decides these things, conditions decide these things. But I would hope you see possibilities now that you haven't for a long time, that you can now see possibilities of being, oh, how can I put it, beautifully grounded.
I don't know. It's funny because that actually goes to a different place where, like, I actually have a felt sense of, no, I don't see possibilities because I just see this. Like, it just kind of goes to like, I have no idea what that's even going to look like. And
Great, good, good, because you don't.
yeah,
Mm.
like so much of my future orientation, because it was all about like I'm not even going to look at the past. The future is, I just have to figure out how to make the future different than now, or than the past. But that, like, I ran that out anyway.
Mm.
That feels like a good place to leave it.
Yeah, it's always now. The others, the future and the past, are all always fantasies. But what's
Yeah.
now? And when we ask what's now, do the Byron Katie thing, it's always not too bad. Mm.
Yeah. Thanks, Vince.
Yeah. Oh,
Thanks for your
Echo, I love you. Thank you for being here. Mm.
mutual.
All right, well, it's just turned midnight here, so I'm going to go to bed. Uh, Thank you all.
Thank you.